Recovered audio, full transcript. Classification, DARBD-Intercept. Clearance Omega-6. Atavus Containment Protocol. Source, Intercepted Unverified Anonymous Audio File. Recovered from Hidden Darknet Forum, Blood Merchant Archive. Terminated August 17, 2022. Internal reference. Subject H-73 Hale. I didn't start out a monster. I started as an intern. Back then, it was called the Longevity Initiative, a research foundation that partnered with select clients to trial anti-aging compounds. We were told it was a merger of biotech and philanthropy, billionaires funding breakthroughs in gene repair and blood rejuvenation to halt and reverse aging. It felt noble. Selection was competitive. Only people with the right education and connections made it through the first round. I won't go into my background, but let's just say nepotism and the right social network opened the door. Then came the quiet room interview. No windows, no clocks. The walls were padded, not just for soundproofing, but to erase the sense of time. It was sensory deprivation at room scale. They asked questions no employer would ask. Do you believe morality is an evolutionary phase? Would you serve a greater intelligence if it required obedience without understanding? How far would you go to preserve the world as it is? When I said, as far as necessary, they smiled. That's how they find you. People who will rationalize anything if it means they matter. Everyone wants to matter. They called me a handler. The word meant nothing at first. What I actually became was a pimp, a pusher, and a murderer. The first year was all data, scheduling clients, arranging travel, collecting medical samples. I didn't know what the samples were for. I thought they were analyzing stem cells or blood factors. That was certainly part of it, but it was like they were searching for something rather than just maintaining research stocks. Then one night I walked into Lab 4 after hours and found one of the clients floating in a tank. No, not floating, suspended. Tubes in every vein, blood cycling through filters. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't conscious. She mouthed something that looked like please, but no sound came out. A senior tech caught me. He just said, "That one's on retainer. Don't interrupt the transaction." That word stuck with me. Transaction. Like she'd sold something and never got it back. Or this was the price she had to pay. They trained us in discretion and relationship management. We were the bridge between the houses and their human assets, the links in the chain. My job was to identify appetites. Politicians who feared aging, celebrities with secret addictions, scientists chasing forbidden results, people that craved what was unattainable to them despite all their influence and power. We didn't bribe them, we fed them. It started with making casual contact, and then like a drug dealer, we would plant the seed of dependency. A sample of a breakthrough anti-aging treatment, the latest designer drugs, entry into fetish clubs of questionable legality. By the time we made contact with a potential asset, the surveillance was already complete. We knew exactly what to offer them to set the hook. We could procure anything, licit or illicit, if it meant bringing influential people into the fold. You've probably heard the rumors about elites and human trafficking. Billionaires on tropical islands doing all sorts of terrible things. It's mostly true, but it's so much worse than you think. One by one, they came to the table. Some thought it was a kink scene or a secret society. Others thought it was transhumanism. None of them realized that they were being consumed. I was assigned to House Varkas, though the word house doesn't really describe it. It's a bloodline, a corporate dynasty built around a shared genetic legacy. House Varkas is embedded deep in the biotech industry, behind every longevity patent and life extension study. They also pioneered the methods of social control that became the chains. Their matriarch was Evelyn Varkas. She looked 40. She was older than photography. Caucasian, average height, average build, brown hair and green eyes. She spoke like a surgeon, calm, efficient, and faintly amused. Her accent was impossible to place. "We don't dominate through fear, Mr. Hale. Fear makes people run. Desire makes them kneel." That became my creed. My job was to keep the links tight, ensure no one broke the chain. I kept my assets happy as long as they were doing what was expected of them. Talking to the right politicians, spreading the right message on social media, writing the right scientific articles. When a client panicked, I was the one who soothed them. When a victim talked, I made them disappear. Sometimes that meant relocation, but usually not. It's easy to orchestrate an accident when you have access to Varkas infrastructure. Their shell corporations, their health trusts, their digital ghosts. They never told me to kill anyone directly, but they didn't have to. I knew what was expected. They just said, "Sever the link before it weakens the whole." Every removal of a problem came with a reward. A transfusion, a bonus, a promotion. After a while, the smell of antiseptic and iron became normal. I was preserving the chain. I was doing something that mattered. The change started around my 3rd year. I had been receiving transfusions semi-regularly as a reward for my service. At first I noticed my cuts healed faster. I stopped feeling cold. Then my pulse slowed to 50, then 40. Evelyn said it was the gift. I thought she meant it as flattery. I developed a craving for liver that progressed to a need to drink blood. Nothing else would satisfy this new hunger inside of me. The gift was not without its drawbacks, it seemed. The house provided for my new needs, and in return I submitted to procedures beyond transfusions. This was no longer a reward, and my refusal was not an option. Every month or so, I received a procedure utilizing a heavy gauge needle to place something in my neck, at the base of my skull. These procedures were extremely painful, even with anesthesia. After the 3rd grafting procedure, something in me went cold. I stopped feeling guilt. I stopped feeling much of anything. Then came the dream. I was standing in a corridor lined with refrigeration units. Each one had a window, and behind the glass were faces, sleeping, pale, mouths slightly open. Tubes ran from them into the ceiling. I followed the lines upward and saw they joined into one massive conduit, pulsing slowly like a vein. At the end of the hall was a shape, human-sized but wrong, covered in cables like roots. It breathed once, twice, and whispered, "You're helping me remember what I am." When I woke up, it felt like someone had their hand around my throat. There was an ache at the base of my skull. I looked at my smartphone screen. I had been asleep for 2 days. After that, I started noticing details. Every handler had scars at the base of their skull. Every house member's appearance was slightly wrong. Glancing at them would cause your heart to race. The servers that stored our client files were called the Flesh Ledger, and their data backups were biological. Racks of fluid-filled drives, the bleeding edge of biocomputation. I confronted Evelyn. She didn't deny any of it. She said, "You're not an employee, Mr. Hale. You're a prototype." In 2019, there was an incident. A client tried to leak part of the Flesh Ledger to a journalist. They sent me to handle it. When I arrived, the journalist was already gone. The floor was wet with blood. The air smelled like copper and ozone. Evelyn was there. She was wiping blood from her mouth with a handkerchief while other handlers were ripping up the blood-stained carpet. She said, "He was too curious. You'll have to replace him." I don't remember what happened next. Only the sound, my own breathing, multiplied. A week later, I woke up in a hospital bed under a different name. My pulse was so shallow and my body temperature was so low that I had been pronounced dead. The curtains were drawn and the lights were off. The staff would be coming to take me to the morgue soon. I had no choice but to run. I was property of House Varkas, and they would send someone to retrieve me. I'm still running. I don't have much time left now. Even if they don't catch me, it's been too long without a transfusion, and my body is breaking down. For 3 years, I've been trying to tell someone, anyone, what's really feeding this world. They say we live in a system of consumption, that everything's a transaction. That's not a metaphor. It's anatomy. It's nature. The chains of flesh are real. They stretch through every government, every boardroom, every church. They don't control us with fear. They feed us our own hunger and call it freedom. They don't need to conquer the world. We gave it to them. I'm sending this to whoever still believes truth matters. But don't look for me. Don't look for them. They're not hiding. They're just too close to see. The chain doesn't only bind. It connects. It circulates. It's the lifeblood of the modern world as we know it. Transcript ends. Background noise increases. Rhythmic, like a ventilator, turning into breathing. Faint whisper. Addiction is faith. Before audio cuts to static.